It has been a very busy weekend for the ministers and leaders at our temple this last week. Some of you may know that it's the BCA National Conference, which is held once a year, and this year it was being hosted and held in Sacramento area at the DoubleTree Hotel right by Arden. So the ministers have been in attendance since last Wednesday. So it's a very long conference and national council meeting, and they all get together and they have to vote on very important issues. So it's been a very busy week for them, as well as our leaders here at the temple. So Reverend Marv asked me to be one of the speakers at an event during this national conference. It's on a Friday afternoon, and it's called a Dharmathon. It's called a Dharmathon. Yeah, and it sounds exactly like what it is. It's a Dharmathon. So there are 5 different speakers that are asked to speak, and they go back to back to back during this conference. So can you imagine that for Sunday service? That'll be a long service. So it was a great honor to be asked, and I was really excited. And I said, "Yeah, Reverend Marv, of course, I'd be honored to do it. You know, who do you have speaking?" He goes, Reverend Marv's always like, well, we have. I'm not trying to imitate people. I just when you talk to somebody for a long time, you just kind of take. Okay. So he was just like, we have many wonderful speakers. We have Reverend Motoyoshi from Stockton, and I said, oh, wonderful. We have Reverend Kurt Rye from Placer Temple, wonderful. We have our own Reverend Tim Castle, also who's representing Marysville and Sacramento. And we also have one young speaker, Marley from Southern Cal. And then it hit me that I used to be the young speaker. You know what I mean? When did that happen? And a young speaker. We have you and then the young speaker. And I'm like, oh. So it really made me think for a moment, because it made me realize, wow, I've been a part of this temple and involved for many, many decades now. I used to just say years, but it's been decades now. So it was a really interesting perspective. But again, it was still a great honor to be asked. There are only about maybe 200 to 250 delegates there. So, it's like this, it's less than this. So we're very comfortable speaking at that audience. However, it was a very intimidating group, because you're talking about all the ministers, right? From all of the temples in the mainland United States and Hawaii and even Canada. And then you have all the bishop and the BCA guys there, and then you have all the temple presidents. So even though it was less people than a normal Sacramento Sunday, it was actually pretty nerve-wracking. It was a little nervous, because there are all these guys and they're all scrutinizing you and they're looking at you. So it was nervous, but it was still a wonderful opportunity. So again, I took that moment because since the bishop was there, I said, you know what, I got to tell the funny bishop story. So just to break the ice while I'm there, I go, being bishop is a really difficult job. You always have to sound very wise. Everything has to be meaningful. You can't just say stuff like, oh, it sure is hot today, right? Everything has to be the wisdom of the world. Everything, right? So I remember we were at this Bay District conference a few years ago. It was in, I think it was in Palo Alto. And it was a junior YBA conference, so they had these posters all over the wall, and everybody wrote their district names on it, where they're from: Fowler, Los Angeles, Orange County, and of course Sacramento. And I saw Bishop Umez standing there in deep contemplation, staring at this poster, looking very intently. So I wandered over to him, expecting some great wisdom to come from his mouth, right? So I walked over there, hello, Sensei, how are you? And he looks, and he thinks, and he turns to me and he goes, I noticed there is ramen in Sacramento. Yeah, S-A-C, ramen, to. And I'm like, that was the wisdom that I got. So I wanted to make sure that I told that funny story in front of the whole BCA. And his back was facing me too. He didn't even turn around. He was at the circle table. So anyway, so that's what I do. So I probably won't get asked to speak there again after that. But no, and it's nice. It's nice to be it was really, really wonderful to be invited to that conference, because despite all of the business things that we take care of, to see that room full of so many wonderful, amazing, dedicated temple leaders and dedicated ministers, it's a warm feeling to know that that room is full of the people that cared, you know? And I wish our Sangha members had an opportunity to see those people, because, you know, they're all wonderful, wonderful, dedicated people. And when you get to know them one-on-one, it's a really great opportunity. So if you ever get a chance, if they're a guest speaker or you see them somewhere, always walk up to a reverend and say hi, introduce yourself. You know, it's a wonderful thing. They're very, very open. So what I did at that Dharmathon was this. I brought them this box. In this box contains all of the answers you will ever need in life. I will give this box to you. Okay, I know that's a lot of pressure. Okay, what you're going to do with that box is you're going to open that box, but be careful because it's very fragile. So, don't use any sharp objects or anything, okay? Now, you do not have to open it all by yourself, okay? Go ahead and work on it for a little bit and pass it to the person next to you, okay? Just take a couple seconds and work on it, pass it to the person next to you, and together we're going to try to open this box, okay? After all, it contains all of the answers you'll ever need in your life. All of life's answers are in that box. So you're going to want to open that thing, okay? So work on it. Yep, work on it, pass it along. Okay, so this is what I did. I brought that box to this national conference and I presented it to them, all the ministers. And again, they were meeting and talking about such important issues that I wanted to give them something like this because it's going to help everybody find answers and come to maybe an agreement or a compromise. Because at these types of meetings, when we're dealing with all these political things and these big hot topic issues, it's hard, right? There's a lot of conflict, right? And there's a lot of, sometimes, tension. So I really wanted to give them something to help try to break this tension. You guys are working on that too well there. You guys are just and passing it along. Okay, so work on getting that box open, okay? And so, you know, now I'd like to ask, is Ellie over here? Yeah, well, I'm going to ask Ellie. So I didn't get a chance to show this video to them, but this is a video that I really, really enjoyed. You know, I share YouTube videos with you guys all the time, right? But this is a video that I really, really enjoyed. I'm going to make sure she turns on the audio pack for the audio power as well. And I just want you guys to take a moment and just watch this video as we work on opening the box with all the magic answers.
Come on.
Has anyone seen that before? Ever? Yeah. Really, really beautiful, huh? Very moving, wasn't it? Very powerful. Even without words. Not a single word was spoken, yet an entire story was told, huh? A whole lifetime even, right? It's amazing. And did anyone feel emotional watching it at all? Did anyone? Did you feel emotional? Did it feel powerful? And that's what I wanted to talk about today, part of my message. And I wish I could have shown this at the conference too, but why do you think we feel emotional watching something like this? With no words, with people that we don't know. I think it's because we have an ability to feel this story and feel another person's suffering, from young love to starting a family, to having a child, to sacrificing their life in a war, right? And despite the fact that we don't know any of these characters, we don't know what it means or who they are, we can still feel this powerful emotion of this story being told, and it still affects us. It still makes us feel real emotion, even though we don't know who they are. And what that is empathy. That is empathy. The ability to feel for another person, another situation, even though it doesn't directly relate to you. And this is the message that I wanted to share with not only the leaders, but the members of the BCA National Council. It's important that we learn to have that empathy. And that's really what Amida is about. When we use the words infinite wisdom and infinite compassion, immeasurable compassion, that's what compassion is. It's a form of empathy, and it's a form of caring or understanding, right? So that's really what that's about. And if we're able to, when we're empathizing and thinking about something else, we're not thinking about ourselves, and we're not thinking about our viewpoint or our way or what's right to us. We are putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes to feel their story. So I thought that that was just a really wonderful video, and I felt that it had a wonderfully Buddhistic message. That group was called Attraction, I believe, and that was on Britain's Got Talent. So I think they have a couple more, so if you ever want to look for them on YouTube, you can look for them. But I thought it was really beautiful, you know, all done with people, and it was so creative. And I love things that are creative like that, and the ability to tell a story in a few minutes. It's an amazing thing to have. So I heard during the video a lot of, right? You guys heard that? Where's the box? You have the box? Did you open it? You were able to open it? Oh, okay. They were actually able to open it. So let me ask you, look at how many rows and how many people it went through to get to open that box. That's quite a bit of people, don't you think? So tell me, what is inside the box? What does it say? Did you open it? Well, what does it say? Within. Interesting. So the answer to everything in life and in the world is within. And this is what it means, because the answers are all inside of us. People often come to Buddhism. They will call the office, they'll call the temple when their lives are not going the way they expected. And they will call us and ask us for answers. Can you tell me what to do? What would the Buddha tell me to do to make my life happier? To make my life have less conflict, less struggle? And we can't give them an answer, because the answer doesn't lie outside of yourselves. The answer lies within. And when we have that empathy and that ability to think of others and not just focus on ourselves, that's when the solutions can come. So the point of this box is this, and this is the final message that I left everybody with at the BCA National Council. That box was very difficult to open, wasn't it? It was very cumbersome. It was very difficult to open. So what I challenged all of the ministers there that weekend, I said, no matter how valuable the Dharma is, no matter how life-changing and impactful it is, if we make it difficult for people to access, if we make it difficult for people to hear, then it is meaningless, right? No matter how old this tradition is, no matter how important it is, if we can't connect with people in a meaningful and simple and easy way, then all of the knowledge and all of that training, it's meaningless. So I tried to share that message with them. but I think all they remembered was the jokes that I told, but I tried to leave them with that message. So I hope that you guys remember that message today, and you remember that box, and you think of that video. So please join me in closing Gassho. The Dharma does not hold any magical answers that can solve all of our problems and disagreements. The Dharma is not something mystical that gives us special powers. The Dharma is simply truth and a way for us to see things as they truly are. And this is not something that we can ever own, but it is always something that we can share. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.